I hope you're doing well. Today I'll take you on a journey down entrepreneurship lane. I know you're all in different grades, so your understanding of the subject may vary. So I'll give you a general idea of what it takes to get into business. Starting from the idea stage and onto the different processes like how to set it up, how to run it, etc. And the why. Why do you want to do a particular thing? To me, that's the most important thing. But first, I'll discuss some career choices as that might actually lead to entrepreneurship in that line at some point. We typically start a professional working life at around 20 to 22 years of age, and we work with the hope that we chose the right career, and more importantly, that we are happy doing it. Hope is the keyword here, as many people are actually not happy with what they're doing. Remember, we spend about 40 to 50 years of our life working, so it makes sense to figure out early on what you're good at and what makes you happy. One day, when you're working in the line you chose, maybe you're making a lot of money, but maybe you're not happy doing what you're doing. And maybe you're at a stage of your life where you have so many responsibilities that you cannot change your path. Isn't it important then to plan early and well? So, how do we decide between different career choices? If we listen only to our parents, they'll tell us based on their experience, and you might have limited choices. If you listen to the whole world, there'll be so many choices that you'll get confused. And if we listen to ourselves, we are sometimes not sure of what to listen to, and sometimes in all this hustle and bustle of classes and exams, we have not even taken the time to even think at peace about what all the choices or possibilities available out there. Maybe we should have a framework of some sort that helps us decide what we should pick. Honestly, I've not used a framework myself. I just kind of knew what I wanted to do in life. I think it's still the same even now. After the 10th, we get to choose between science, commerce, and arts. Most people had the choice made for them based on how many marks they got, etc. I chose commerce as I wanted to be an entrepreneur very early on. So much so that I even started my first business when I was in the 12th grade. In those days, we had a lot of choices, unlike today. You could either become a doctor or an engineer. The path I chose was radical during those times. I was lucky that I had parents who did not stop me from following my dreams. Now things are different. I wish I was in your place today, as there's so many exciting options. I then did my bachelor's in business and I wanted to start my own business, but people confused me with things like, how come you're not doing masters or further studies? I then got confused as to what to do. So I did what all confused people at the time did. I did my MBA. To the US for the same and ended up staying there for 25 years. First job in a computer hardware company. Well, I really didn't want to work for anybody, but only did it to get my green card, honestly. After that, I started two businesses in the US, and now I'm on to my fourth one. Anyway, sorry for digressing, but the only reason I've even mentioned all this and I'm sharing my story as it might, in a very small way, help you chart your path. Not what I did, but the thought process of going about it. So while I could not decide on some framework, maybe I can help you decide on some kind of a path. Now, here is the framework I suggest. First, make a list of all those things that you're good at. Each and every person in this world has something they're good at. Maybe you're good at studies, maybe a particular field of study, maybe you're good at talking, or at writing, or at solving problems. Also, add vocations like painting, singing, even sports, whatever you're good at. Then, once you list that out, separate them into two columns. One column of things you're good at, and another of what you would like to do. And then from that list, you'll figure out what makes you happy doing what you're good at. Remember that just because you're good at something does not mean you'll be happy doing that in the long run. And when you're good at something, people might say, oh, you must do this for sure because you're good at it. But it may not make you happy. So make a balance between what you're good at and what makes you happy, and you'll find your calling. So you add all this together and find your match and feel passionate about it, you found your career path. For example, assume you're good at researching, understanding, and applying things, and you feel that you'll make a good life. But what you really like and what makes you happy and what makes you passionate about things is reading about and tinkering around with electronics, but not to the extent of becoming an electronics engineer. So, what if you meet at the intersection, assuming that there's a need for it, which there is in this case, and become a patent lawyer? who specializes in products in the consumer electronics field. There can be many such examples, but you get the point. Are you someone who likes to create, who can work hard until the goal is achieved, who can make a number of sacrifices so that nothing else matters other than that one single obsession? And are you passionate to solve problems on a regular basis? Well, then maybe you can think about starting your own business. Is entrepreneurship right for you? Well, let me tell you what it takes to be an entrepreneur. I'll tell you a short story which is partly borrowed from someone who used to be the CEO of HCL. It's a story of a few young ants. There was a group of ants that were discussing among themselves about their future, and one guy said, I want to be the fastest ant. The second one said, I want to be the richest ant, and so on. Finally, one ant who was a bit different was asked, what do you want to be? What's your vision? He said, well, I don't want to be an ant anymore. I want to be a butterfly. The day the ant thinks that he or she no longer wants to be an ant is the day the entrepreneur is born. Most organizations are comprised of ants that are busy building their careers, and many of them are doing very well, and more power to them. But entrepreneurs are not ants, they are butterflies. But it's also the unfortunate truth that some butterflies fly and some never take off. But some of those butterflies usually. So what makes some of these ants into beautiful butterflies? I don't know for sure, but I can tell you from my experience. So what is the recipe for success? First of all, take chances. Life is all about taking chances and getting excited about imperfections. When a diamond cutter sees a cut diamond, he should feel bored. When he looks at a rough diamond, he should feel excited. When a potter sees clay, he should feel excited and start imagining as to what he can do with that clay. So if you're an entrepreneur and you've decided not to be an ant anymore, whenever there's any problem in life, you should feel excited. Because you're the only one who can cross that bridge, as nobody else can. So whenever you have problems, like if you're stuck on how to fix a software bug or a product design flaw, a funding problem or some other issue, you're the only one who will be willing to take that chance because you're not an ant. Believe in the power of impossible. Entrepreneurs are naturally wired to believe that they can do anything. Even if they can't, they believe that they can. When you look at life with the lens of what you can do, not what you can't do, you will almost always win. If you're not even attempting the impossible, how will impossible happen? The whole reason you became an entrepreneur was to do the impossible. You do not want to be an ant anymore. So why not dream big? Why not dream impossible? Why not get excited about achieving the impossible, even if you perish trying to attempt the impossible? The world will only notice those people who at least attempt the impossible. Nobody's going to hold your hand and show you how to do it. You got to do it yourself. You're not an ant, you're a butterfly. Thirdly, build and inspire your team. Gone are the days when you had a bunch of workers and a person at the top to manage them. In the digital age now, nobody wants to be managed. We have to inspire, not manage a team. Inspire your teams to do the impossible. So if you truly want to be a butterfly, your team has to be a butterfly. Your company has to be a butterfly. So you have to build the right team first and then inspire them to think and be like you and have the same vision. In India especially, we tend to discuss problems, we don't discuss opportunities. We don't discuss people attempting the impossible. We discuss the ants, we don't discuss the butterflies. We don't discuss the ants wanting to be butterflies. There's no fun in being a fast ant, a rich ant, etc. There's a lot of fun being a butterfly. A successful butterfly or a failed butterfly, but butterfly it is. So seek the impossible, my dear friends. Whether it's doing a job or being an entrepreneur, fly away. There is no right or wrong time to be an entrepreneur. The day you find an idea worth pursuing and are passionate about something so much that you just want to do something in that line, or you find a huge gap in the market, or you find a product or service that can solve a problem, is the time to leave everything behind and pursue your dreams. You can start at any age. I'm over 50 and I only recently started my next venture. In getting into business, not everything sells and everyone succeeds. There could be some reasons why some businesses fail. Maybe it's something the market really did not want, or the market suddenly changed. Maybe the quality of the end product or service was not up to the mark. Maybe it was not marketed well enough, or there was poor execution. Maybe it was due to lack of funding, or whatever it could be. Failures do happen. Nothing works like clockwork in a startup. Failures are a part of it. But you need to learn from failures. Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, once famously said, "You learn nothing from success." It is so true. I can promise you, each and every entrepreneur has made mistakes. I've made a lot of them myself. But the ones who survive and move forward are the ones who are willing to learn from their mistakes. You will fall down many times during the journey, but get up you must. And if you have the passion, get up you will. But the ones who survive and move forward are the ones who are willing to learn from their mistakes. You will fall down many times during the journey, but get up you must. And if you have the passion, get up you will. It's a tough journey, but if you have the passion and resilience, you will succeed. May not be with the first product or business, but one day when you look back at what you just created or achieved, you will look back and say with a smile, well, it was all worth it. I'll tell you a bit about what are the different phases when you start your own business, especially a manufacturing one where you make a physical product. When that light bulb goes off in your head and you think of this fantastic idea that you wish to see come to life, whether it's an intangible product or a service or a physical product, the principles and some of the stages I'll go through briefly remain the same. What I'm going to discuss applies to almost every kind of business, but I'll discuss it assuming it's a physical product, as that's what I do and it's easier to give examples this way. An entrepreneur usually has a design thinking mindset. It does not matter what kind of product it is, but typically they think outside the box. Not just for the product or service, as that idea is just the initial idea, but to make sure that for every problem the company encounters, unique out-of-the-box solutions are found. This keeps the company agile and new ideas and products keep flowing as we go. I too keep coming up with unique ideas on a regular basis. If you keep your mind open, keep learning, thinking of how things work and how they could be better, you're basically training your brain to think in a particular visions to problems. Design thinking and innovation is a culmination of all this. Decided on your idea, done market research to make sure that the problem you're trying to solve with the product is something others face too, and the market really needs it, you move on to the next step, prototyping. This is a very tricky area and many entrepreneurs and their teams do not know how to go about it or even where to start. Unfortunately, especially in India, not many factories are willing to do it. If you do not have an in-house design team, then it's best to outsource this work to a design house. The initial prototypes, you don't have to go into something complicated. You want to show the working and stuff. So this is how we did it for our lens attachment. So we wanted to do something unique where it just locks in and instead of screwing it on. So what we did was we made this aluminum thing just to test the working and everything. Once we got this right, we went straight into making the actual lens. So I just touched on the subject here, but for those who want to actually learn a lot more and everything about the subject, after this video you can ask any questions or at any time you can just contact me and I'll be more than happy to help. And I'd like to say this, each and every one of you is definitely good at something. No matter what path you take, whether you're looking for that dream job or you dream to be an entrepreneur, some things remain common. And if you do the following, I promise you, no one can stop you from succeeding. The first thing you need to be is be bold. Then have a laser-like focus. Be yourself. Work hard and go after what you want to accomplish. But don't forget along the way, whether it's hobby or sports, take the time out for it. I still play cricket and badminton actively to keep my body in shape and my mind. Always be helpful and kind to everyone you meet, and you'll end up with a fantastic network of wonderful people around you. Don't put limits around your potential. Stay curious. And last but not the least, never stop learning. I'm over 50 years old now and I'm still learning. Good luck to you and all the best for the future. Jai Hind.